What's up, everyone? Today we'll be checking out the Jester Classic, which is a car that needs no introduction. It's, of course, based on the Toyota Supra, also known as the A80, a code name. It's been produced from 1993 all the way till 2002, um, although production ended in 1998 for North America, if I remember that correctly. If I got that information wrong, someone please correct me, but I'm sure it's pretty accurate. Anyway, here with the customization is pretty decent. This car was actually revisited um, another maybe two times or one time back in 2018 because it had a lot of bugs and glitches with this car, a lot of problems with the customization and stuff like that. For those of you that remember, or maybe you don't remember. But anyway, it's great to know that this car was revisited again. It has updated textures and stuff like that. It still has quite a few problems, but again, it's better than when it was when it first released all the way back in 2018. But what you do get is pretty tasteful here. It's really nothing crazy, but it's pretty tasteful. And since this does come with more customization than the typical DLC car from back then, this vehicle might be, this video might be a little bit longer, since I usually like to keep things straight and simple and to the point. But anyway, with what you do get here, it's pretty decent. So I can't complain too much. I'm quite satisfied with the exhaust option here. You do have those typical uh, aftermarket big bore type exhausts. But I'm only gonna go with a single here because I like how that looks. So yeah, let's just go with that. Anyway, you got some headlight covers here. I'm not really a big fan of that, so I'm just gonna leave it off. But if you like how that looks, you do you. But I'm just gonna leave it off. You do have a little bit of a body kit here, or on the bumper too. You only get it in the back, which is a bit strange. It would have been better if the front got a bit of an extension, but I'm not really gonna go for that look anyway. Here you have a fine selection of hoods here. They have a very custom look. I'm personally not into this. That one right here is a reference to Fast and Furious, but I prefer more of a factory look, a clean stock look. I'm sure the majority of you would agree with me as well, keeping it nice and clean and simple. That's really what I'm all about. And I said something, crazy, but this isn't too crazy, it's still special. You have a decent selection of liveries here, pretty cool to see. I'll just quickly go through these options and show you how they look like. I'm probably not gonna choose any of these to be honest, so I'm just gonna keep it clean. But in the meantime, what you get here is pretty nice. I really can't complain about, the details and stuff like that. Uh, and the textures and the resolutions for the deliveries are pretty nice. Not too bad. You have your typical sponsors here. I'm sure these are based off something in real life, but I don't really know much about these liveries here. This one right here, this is an obvious reference to Fast and Furious. It's been done to death already, so I'm sure you guys probably already knew that. Anyway, what's next? Alright. All that's left for me to do here before I exit the garage is paint it real quick. But I'm just gonna go for a black instead of going for a red or a yellow or an orange. I'm just gonna go for a black. I know it's very boring and a bit simple, but I might as well. In the interior, you can paint it a bit too. It also seems to be matched to the stitching, which is pretty cool, pretty nice. So I'm just gonna put something that's a little bit light. Yeah, that's good enough. Not too dark. You do have some roof scoops up here. Only like 2 or 3 options, but that's alright. You do have quite a few skirts here. They're a bit hard to see because of the lighting. The lighting is kind of garbage in here, so I apologize for that. But what you do see is alright. It's a bit more of an extension. But I'm personally gonna leave it off. I prefer more of a stock look. Anyway, for the wings, these wings are pretty nice, as you can see right here. And this one is gonna be everyone's favorite. It's a very clear reference to this car, to the real car. But most of the other wings in the bottom, they're, the typical generic design. They're really nothing special. So these have been seen before in other vehicles or sports cars. But so yeah, I'm just gonna go for that for this one right here. I love it. I know most of you would agree as well. Anyway, here, let's see what's next. The suspension. I feel like it's already too low, so I'm just gonna choose, the second option or the first option. But yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna go for that. Let's see what's next. Anyway, here for the wheels, the very last option here, it looks pretty good. I like how that looks. However, there's quite a few other wheels that look good on this, as I'll show you. Well, I'm pretty much showing you. And that's this one right here. This one is one of the wheels that I feel looks the best on it. It really just matches the time period and the design. And there's another one, which is this one. I believe they're the Forged 5s. These just look so good. So I might put these on instead. But these have a very nice aftermarket look. However, the other ones, these look very stock. I love how they look. So let's do that. This is how the tire lettering looks, in case you want to go for that or you want to do that. So I'm just going to bulletproof it. Let's see. I'm going to find a good angle to show you the window tint because there's a lot of glare. So it's kind of hard to see sometimes. So I'm just going to choose a light tint. So let's do that. It looks like that's pretty much it for the customization, so just give me a sec here. Detail and texture quality is actually pretty decent. It's pretty nice that the engine is very well modeled. It has some pretty cool details in there with the wires and stuff like that. The interior is a bit generic. It's been seen before. It's nothing really new, but the design still matches the time period. The fabric here in the back trunk doesn't really look so good, but most of you probably won't be opening that, so it's okay. I feel like the taillights look pretty nice. I love how they modeled it. Even though it's a mix of 3D and 2D, I feel like they still did a pretty tasteful job. Overall, the rest of the car was pretty well done, well modeled. Some of the proportions are a bit, strange in the front especially, but I feel like it was very well done. I have really not many complaints with the exterior. Speed and handling is decent. This does suffer from handling flags, which is unfortunate. So what that basically does is slow the car down when you go over bumps, which does suck. The engine does feel like it's struggling a bit. I don't know why. I kind of get that impression. The handling itself is actually pretty good. What you'd expect from a sports car like this, or any other sports car. It is reliable, but from what I hear with the engine, I feel like it is struggling a bit. I don't know. I feel like they could have done a better job with the sound effects of the engine, the exhausts. They really should remove the handling flags because it kind of does ruin the car. in its performance, it could be a lot faster, a lot more fun. It just feels a bit weird to me. If you drive this car, I'm sure maybe you could agree. But with that to conclude my review, that's all I got for today. And as always, thanks for watching.